Hello and welcome to Pardon the Interception. Starting off season 33 with your hosts Lee Wood.
Nick Taylor.
And Simon Wood.
Unfortunately, Conrad's unable to join us this week, but it's definitely good to be back in the game. It feels like we've been away for far too long, and it was good to see those that could attend at Bristol. The live draft is always an interesting thing, but with the restrictions this year, it was a reduced crowd. But hey, hopefully we'll be able to see more people attending the full draft next year.
What restrictions?
Oh. People's voluntary restrictions. So, looking around the league, starting off in the GFL, thought we'd start off by looking at the winners of last season's bowl. So here we can see that the Black Knights are definitely a team to be reckoned with, as in week one they've managed to put up a 62-6 win against the new coach coming into the GFL, Aaron Sanford, who has been dominant in two other leagues so far, not having the best of starts to his GFL debut here.
It's a welcome to the league game for Aaron there. Full strength hammering at the hands of Jan, which is not really the way you want to be starting off your GFL experience. I mean, as Jan said, it can only get better. So there is that, and I imagine Aaron's trying to put his mark on the Beach Breakers. So,
I think they're actually the breakers from
the Virginia Beach Breakers. I'm going to continue to get everyone's name wrong for this season, just to confirm that.
I think it is just summed up with his comment of "yep."
Yeah. So yeah, long way to go for Aaron, I feel, with Virginia, but Jan started where he left off last season. I think just running all over the Virginia Beach Breakers.
Simon, anything you want to add?
I mean, what we can conclude from this is that Aaron can't make it in the GFL.
Or is it because he hasn't had a chance to trade yet?
Exactly. He hasn't had a chance, do his nickel and diming his way to a beautiful team.
That's not going to happen for him in the GFL because Dave Russell already has a monopoly on that. So we will see how it goes.
Maybe this will be, the death of Dave Russell. You heard it
possible.
Aaron fighting into his territory.
Second game we've got to look at is the other team that made the bowl in the GFL last season. So we've got the Emperors at the Quake, and the Quake putting up a fairly dominant win here, but not quite as dominant as the Black Knights made it. So if this is a sign of things to come, we could see the same two teams in the bowl this season. Nick?
Yeah, you could say they'll be quaking in their boots at the site of this game. Kinnard's got over 10 yards per carry, which if your running back's doing that, then games are going to go well for you, and your opponent's certainly not going to be too pleased about the sight of that. I mean, 47 points in the first half is a lot of points. So
yeah, I'm fairly confident this looks like the score that I usually get on a Madden game when I have it set on easy.
Great start for the Quake. Emperors probably don't need to read too much into this game, I wouldn't have thought. But yeah, strong start for the Quake there.
Simon, anything to add?
I think the play calling for the offensive coordinator was a bit hard. It's run, get a first down, pass, probably get 2 first downs. Well, which do I pick? Do I want a first down or a first down? It's hard.
And then as a one-off special this week, we're going to give an honourable mention to a third game in the GFL, as it's not often you see a 71-0 defeat, and also to Gary Lyon, who is an old school coach, been around for a while, so not really a score that we expected. And one of my favourite stats here is the Hulk managed to punt for 425 yards, and even more, we have nearly 1,000 kickoff yards by the other team as well. So the Birmingham Pistols nearly kicking for 1,000 yards, breaking the graphics. Just what on earth was going on here? How did they score 71 points off of less than 300 yards? I'm still not entirely sure, but this is definitely an odd game.
I think the most impressive part is the quarterback getting 1 completion out of 8 for 0 yards.
I prefer the running back getting minus 31 yards for 33 carries.
I did enjoy that, but then
Minus 1 yard.
The
Broke the
quarterback's
average.
Quarterback's thrown sideways and thought, let's get off this field.
I think that's
what I do like is the fact that there's only 13 punts, and I would have thought that this is like yards punted as a record. Like you would have thought that would be a record as well. So we've got 1 punt return for a touchdown, and then just trying to work out where these 10 scores are coming from. But hey, bizarre game. Anybody got anything else to add on this before we move on?
Things can only get better.
Oh yeah, we said things could only get better for Aaron. This game is proof that it could get worse. Right, moving on to the Atlantic. The first game we've got here is the Swamp Stallions, hot off of the bowl with their new coach with the very, very unfortunate 3-letter abbreviation of ASS, proving that their season may not be ASS this season. Coming back under a new coach, Martin Benson, who used to coach in the Atlantic before, I believe, as well. Trying to remember which team he had.
The Beds. The Beds.
But I think Martin is actually a founder coach. But a good all-round performance here, picking up from where Aaron left off, and Simon is laughing at his own joke much more than the joke deserved. Nick, anything you wish to add?
I think we covered this a little bit on Atlantic Avenue, and it just looks like the Stallions just plugging in last season and doing the business. I mean, they were tough to beat at home last season, and I think they'll be tough to beat at home this season. They've got to be the favourites again for the bowl. It's just a matter of how adventurous Martin gets throughout the season, I feel.
What can you remember what the tried and tested spreadsheet called the bowl as?
No.
Yeah, I can't. I can't either. So I need to go back and check. I don't think it was the Stallions. Hey, I nearly won. I mean, I got to the bowl.
It was pretty impressive how close it got. Let's have a look. Here we go. You got the Stampede.
I got the Stampede. Okay, the Stampede winning the bowl. That still could happen.
Get to the championship game. So,
yeah. Simon, what do you make of this?
It's just an absolute stomping, wasn't it? It's not that much to talk about. I guess the turnovers from the ASS is something to be worried about, and their quarterback rating of 25 leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, quarterback rating 25, not good. So they definitely ran it out the ass.
I was running in the defense and a bit of special teams, and that all came together to win them the game.
Hey. And then speaking of wins that shouldn't have happened, my first game, I honestly had no idea how I was going to do. I've never had to deal with motivation before, so I think I did all right. I don't know how strong the Nighthawks are this year. I like the fact I've got a balanced offense. I mean, Nick, any questions you want to ask? I could talk about this game for a while.
Where do you feel the Nighthawks are at the moment? Is one of the questions we can quite work out. Are they sort of on a little bit of a downswing at the moment and rebuilding? Do you feel? I
think they're on the way back up. It's difficult to say. Last season, I think they were. This game, as Phil pointed out, I kept them to field 2 field goals when they got close. So if they'd converted more field goals into touchdowns, this would have been a much closer game. I don't think they're a million miles off. Also, the explosiveness of deep pass and run flat helps flatter my team a lot here. I think. I think that I don't think they're going to get any worse. I think they're going to go on the way up.
Follow up. So you predicted yourself to win the bowl last season. However, this season you've predicted yourself to go 3-7.
Yes.
What's the deal?
My team aged badly. I had an old team. I knew that I was trading for 1, possibly 2 good seasons. I actually think I might be able to squeak the division if I get lucky a little bit this year, but the spreadsheet has me going 3-7. So as long as I go better than that, I'm going to be happy. Simon, anything you want to lambaste me over?
Why are you so quiet? Where's the commentary?
I've just been really, really busy at
Talk
work.
on your own game. Come on.
I will.
No excuses.
That's arrogance kicking in, Si.
I know. Oh, I'm going to win anyway. I won. Okay. Next
One
week.
again. Oh, well.
So boring.
Let the doubters begin.
All right. On to the big skies. The first game we've got to look at is the Myrtle Beach Maroons at the Venice Rivets. Did we cover the Maroons at all last year? I don't remember the name, to be honest.
I don't think so.
So, Simon, do you want to lead us on this?
This was actually a non-riveting game from the Rivets for once. There's actually some interest. It was surprisingly close in the scoreline, but then you look at the you look at the first downs, look at the yardages. I think the story of this game is Venice's offense was doing very, very well, and the Maroons' offense wasn't doing quite so well. And they got a little bit of bad luck in the beginning because they had an interception or a fumble right at the start when they were about to score. But past that, a lot of their scores came from turning over the ball in the opponent's territory. So they weren't. You take away the odd breakaway they had, and the yardages didn't look great for their offense for me. So I think the scoreline probably does flatter them a bit. It was also quite a weird topsy-turvy game because the Rivets went about 20-0 up, and then the Maroons got 34-20 back, and then the Rivets scored a bunch of touchdowns right at the end. As you can see in the fourth quarter. So it was interesting.
Nick, anything further to add?
I think if you're the Maroons, whilst you've lost, you've got to be pretty happy with your performance in this game. If you're the Rivets, you're probably thinking, got the W at the start of the season, and let's go from here. Yeah, good start from both teams really, and something to build on.
It's not often you see an offensive guard get the MVP as well. That is a rare item. Okay, and the second game we've got to look at is the Port Royal Buccaneers, formerly under Coach Klein, now under Coach Aid Hill, coming up against the Mount Dora Massive, 2 teams that featured a lot in PTI last year as well, and a interesting result, I think here. And Aid, unfortunately, seeming to get someone on injury after the first game, which is never good. But Nick, what do you make of these? Oh, sorry, Simon.
I can give you my views if you want.
So I think this game got hit by what I like to call idiot watch, where the Buccaneers had no motivation coach because someone else had stolen them for whatever reason, I do not know. So they were running without a motivation coach. So you add the motivation coach to this game, and probably going to be a lot closer with a level on both offense and defense. And but they did turn the ball over 6 times, so maybe that was quite lucky. This game, yeah, you feel that without that the Buccaneers would have won, but then it seems like their running game has disappeared because last year they were running over everyone, and now there was no running game to speak of in this game. So
thing is, though, is if you take a level off the running back and a level off of each of the offensive line, that that can make a huge difference in the running game.
So it's interesting, will they be able to pick up a motivation coach or not? Will the person realise and sack them or not?
Yeah, is there one available? Because I noticed in the Atlantic, the one that I could pick up didn't become available until the preseason week.
That's quite normal, but I think somebody signed it in the big sky when I looked it up.
Okay.
So I think, that's why I call it idiot watch, because people just sign it because it's there, not realising it largely does nothing for them.
Nick.
Yeah, I think I want to say we covered one of like this matchup towards the end of last season, and the Massive did beat the Buccaneers last season as well. So I wouldn't say it's all down to motivation necessarily. I think the Massive might just have the players to deal with Davies as well, which makes a big difference. Martin will be very pleased to have got this win because Buccaneers are always a tough one, and Davies has gone AWOL for this game as well. If we remember from last season, he was running for 300-400 yards a game and mauling everyone. But I want to say,
I think it's unfair to say he's gone AWOL. His average is 3.3 yards. So if you run on every single down with him, on average, you're going to make a first down.
Yeah, but he's not doing what he did last season.
Correct. Yes,
that's the main thing. Where he was averaging 8, 9, 10 yards per carry. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the Buccaneers move forward from here. I don't know whether Aid wants to put his own spin on things or whether he's going to keep it as it is. But yeah, great result for Mount Dora. Massive gets their season off to a winning start. So they'll be very pleased with that.
Okay, and moving to the Continental. The first game we've got here is the Miami Destruction at the Saskatchewan Venom. Nick.
Yeah, two teams that I want to say finished last season on 8-2. So bit of a divisional rivalry going on here, and they've come out swinging at the start. I think this was a really interesting game. The Destruction were just keeping in it right through to the end of quarter 3, and the Venom just got that extra touchdown just to make sure in the last quarter. The numbers from the Destruction look pretty good. Over 300 passing yards, good 120 rushing yards. Venom must be pretty happy with that too. So I mean, the Destruction have lost. It is an away game against a tough opposition, so I can't imagine they'll be too unhappy with that result. And the Venom will obviously be very pleased that they've beaten the Destruction here in the first game of the season.
Great. Simon, anything to add?
It's nice to see the imposter Venom are using the correct template of trying to lob the ball right down the pitch every time. That is what Venom teams do, even the fake ones.
Okay. Moving on to the other game in the Continental we're going to cover, we've got the Winterfell Westies at the Peckham Trojans. Nick, what made this one jump out?
Yeah, so again, I've picked two teams that were, did well last season. I wanted to have a look and see how they're doing this season, and on the face of it, it looks very similar. 200 passing yards versus 250 passing yards, 9 first downs versus 11, 6 turnovers. But what really made the difference in this game was the Trojans' special teams, I believe. They were doing some good work on special teams, and that was the difference here. And I think the Trojans would be pretty happy to have kicked the season off with a win against the Westies, and put someone in good stead going forward.
Okay, Simon, anything to add?
Yeah, this looks like a battle of defenses with the special team then flicking it over. So,
okay. Moving on to the Delta. We've got the Tortuga Mariners at the Frame Katanas. Simon, quite a close game here, which is unsurprising given how these teams finished the previous season.
Not close enough is how I would describe it, because everyone wants to see Lee lose.
Go watch the A then.
True. We should all go watch the A and you'll be happy. I think maybe the turnovers in this game do kind of make the scoreline look a little more lopsided than maybe it was, but it's interesting to see that Lee's passing game was largely shut down compared to what it normally is. It's not actually properly shut down, but it was, got a lot of interceptions out of him, got the completion percentage down.
I mean, Lee has been telling us that his team are old and aging. So could that actually be true?
It's all fair. He's called that too many times. It's the boy that called aging.
True. Yep.
Every season, he still seems to win.
Yeah, I think this shows that the Mariners have some very strong growth. I think I predicted them in the prediction to actually win more games than Coach Sanford, the other, believes his team will. Nick, anything that jumps out at you?
No, not too much. I think you've alluded to most of the points. The Katana's turnovers maybe suppressed the score a little bit, but yeah, a reasonable start for the Katanas. Bit different to what I was seeing last season, but we'll see whether that happens later on in the season.
The second game we've got to look at is the Warriors at the Lone Stars, a divisional rival and always a fun game to watch. Simon, what did you make of this? Have we seen the end of striker being the dominant force?
It was interesting because the Jolla had a Merchant running for more special teams yards than striker. So maybe the power has shifted in the special teams war here, which is something to behold. Maybe Jonathan's rubbing off on Aaron. He's changing his ways slightly. We will find out.
Do you think it's that, or do you think Aaron's upped his special team game to prevent the Warriors a little bit?
Possibly, although he must have quite a decent level returner there in Merchant. Yeah. He's kick returning for 61 yards on average. It's pretty impressive.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm just starting basically in the red zone.
Yeah. I remember.
Nice place to start.
I remember us discussing the Warriors last season on their playoff run and how much extra yardage they were just getting from special teams was pretty crazy. As you say, if Aaron starts doing that back to the Warriors, then, and the rest of the league for that matter.
The only thing that I think is refreshing for me for this is we only saw Aaron win once this week and not twice.
That's quite nice.
And overall was on a negative on points against versus points scored.
Yeah. We should definitely aggregate his scores across both his teams.
Seems reasonable.
I'm on board with this.
Do you think the Lone Stars are gonna be up there again?
I think I've called the Warriors to win this one again with the spreadsheet of doom, but the spreadsheet of doom seems to over-egg the Warriors a tiny bit. I think they're good, but the Lone Stars are just insane.
They did bring in English, who I believe is quite a high-level wide receiver.
How did he do in this game?
He got the most yards, I think. I'm sure he traded him in. For the Flopperheads?
The Flopperheads. The Flopperheads are doing all right this season.
Yeah, it's interesting. An old elite wide receiver. I think he's quite high level. And Aaron bringing in old players, it either means he's going for the bowl again, or maybe he's got some holes he's trying to patch up.
And he might have got them cheap. So I know I brought in an old running back to switch to the I form this season, and he was quite cheap. Not massively high level, but enough for me to switch my formation up. I know Ken was going to love the fact that I've moved to the I form, but hey. Right, moving on to the Empire. Nick, we've got the Patriots at the Jacksonville High Hunters. What made this game jump out to you, except for the fact that you like calling them the High Hunters?
Which I will do at some point, probably multiple points during the season. I just feel like with the it would be wrong not to start the season off by going back and looking at Pat and seeing whether he's delivering at the start of the season. And yeah, Pat has had an absolute stormer this game. 557 passing yards. I think one of the wide receivers, Budrovic, who is the MVP, 361 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. It looks like the High Hunters are there to score a lot of points, and not worry too much about how many points are scored against them, because the Patriots haven't done too bad a job there, scoring nearly 40 points, and they've still lost by 20 points. The rivalry between these two is building. The High Hunters lost the turnover battle as well, so let's see, I've called them the High Hunters already. I think Jacksonville High Hunters are quite easily the real deal this season again, and to be fair, the Patriots might well push them reasonably well, but if they're doing this to the Patriots, then it'll be interesting to see what they do to the rest of the league.
Simon, anything else to add?
No, I think you can't really doubt the High Hunters, can you? Postman Pat, they're always going to deliver. I just want to see a player named Jess for him to throw to.
And I also think they always need a morning kickoff game as early as they possibly can get as well.
When the day's dawning.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the last game in the Empire, Nick, you got the Inverglen Sharks and the newly moved Tacoma Thundering Herd. Apart from the Thundering Herd being involved in this game, a team that we at PTI love, what drew you to this?
Yeah, so I won't be covering Postman Pat and the Thundering Herd every week, but we did follow them quite a lot last season, and I felt it would be wrong not to kick the season off by looking at them again. Thundering Herd games were quite exciting last season, and this one was no different, with a late touchdown for the victory. In this one, they left it very late. I think 2 minutes before the end, they got the last touchdown.
And a 2-point conversion as well.
There you go. Bonus points. Like both teams performed pretty well. Thundering Herd lost the turnover battle, but I mean, you can't read too much into that in the first week of the season. Performed pretty well. Not sure what's going on with the MVP award. Is it? Oh, it's the receiving. We've got the receiving running back again.
Yeah, we've got a Tripson wannabe.
There we go. So it'll be fun to watch Vega and see what he does this season. I just thought we'd cover a couple of teams we were familiar with this season, and then next week we might spice it up and find some new teams to look at. Thundering Herd got to be pretty happy with that. Sharks, they'll be disappointed for passing for 450 yards and losing, but an away game losing by 3 points to the team that won the division last season, can't really complain too much. You've got to be reasonably pleased, if in terms of losses anyway. You've got to be reasonably pleased with that one. So yeah, interesting first game and a close one.
Simon, anything else to add?
Does anyone run the ball in the Empire?
Yeah, I think it's the Kings, isn't it? The Kings?
Okay.
The Kings? Let's go have a look, shall we?
Just had 4 gigantic passing teams.
Kings. Do the Kings run the ball?
No.
Not really.
Well, they sort of do. Let's go to have you got the week one?
You got a question for anyone watching this from the Empire?
Week one
Why does
stats.
someone who runs the ball?
Week one top performers. Click there. There you go.
Jaguars.
And Tomahawks. I remember
Jaguars,
Kemble of the Tomahawks.
Romford Rough Rangers. Having been to Romford a few times in my life, I can confirm that's an accurate name.
Are they the Romford Rough Rangers, or are they the Romford Rough Rangers?
Let's have a look.
That's what we need to know.
We can find out.
They're obviously the Romford Rough
technology.
Rangers, but it's what did the coach intend, right?
Yeah, it's Romford Rough Rangers. So
But maybe Mark thinks it's the Romford Rough Rangers. We want to
R
know, Mark. Let us know.
R cubed.
You can't
Oh,
sort of pseudo change the name.
Everyone's doing it. It's the thing everyone's doing. The triple names nowadays.
Yeah,
See it more and more.
the game's gone.
I mean, are the Green Bay Packers the Bay Packers from Green, or are they the Packers from Green Bay? Who knows?
That's a great question. Answers on a postcard.
Oh, right. So, before we wrap up and come to a close, does anybody have any parting words?
I think this week's just going to be, as we sort of showed, it was a quick run through, and I think from next week we'll have a bit more info to go on, and we'll be doing a bit more in depth looking at who the great players like Tripson are, and who's
First
who
week
are
is
the
always
newcomers.
hard.
Yeah,
First week
yeah.
is always hard.
Strom did run for 180 yards, just so everyone knows. Strom is
what?
still
He
on the
did
radar.
retire. Yeah.
180 yards, and Guter outdid him 214 yards, I believe it was. But we'll be kicking all that kind of stuff off from next week onwards. I feel start getting some players to watch.
Simon, anything from you?
Nothing from me. Just looking forward to Aaron's next loss and how big it is in the GFL.
Okay, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.